in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? But can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
And welcome into a Thursday episode of Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Town. Anthony Hartwig, and as always, joined by Mr. Ty Bartell in a hoodie in summer. What are we doing? Wait, we have to tee out.
No, man. You got to keep it cold in the house, and then I throw the hoodie
How
on.
cold? Like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, the fan's on. The house is probably like at 70. I'm happy in a t-shirt. Like, are you?
I usually, my wife won't let me go lower than usually 68.
Are you sitting in a tundra?
66 is where 66, 65 is where I prefer with fans on, but it's a 68 right now. So no, I went outside actually just before the show, and I couldn't wear the hoodie outside. It's warm. It's warm outside.
I'm gonna go outside. Oh,
Yeah, it's terrible.
it's wrong, man. I was so shocked. I came on. I was like, Ty's in a hoodie, and it's like 95 degrees outside.
Yeah, we're
Welcome to
repping it. We're repping it. It's cold in this house, though.
Hey, you know what? Whatever it takes to stay in your red, right?
Huh?
Whatever it takes to stay in your red.
Yeah. I gotta keep red, the occasional black. Sometimes I'll throw in other
A
colors.
gray. Sometimes
Yeah.
a gray.
Sometimes it'll be a gray. I have a very specific color palette.
The extensive color palette of Ty Bartell. Ty, we had whiting. White is the absence of color, but whiting had no absence of moxie last night. They sweep Astro Falcons in 16U with an 8-7 win in 10 innings. Can you imagine if Astro won this game and they had to play another one after a 10-inning game? That might be a situation where Class B is like, wait a minute, let's keep people safe and let's just play tomorrow. What do you think?
It might have been that case too, because you were probably going to be clocking in a really late start time. Then I would have figured it was around like 9 o'clock, I think, that this game ended, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
So that would have been a long game too to start, and you would have went deep into the night. Luckily, though, for Whiting, they were able to get the win and not have to worry about wasting some more arms in another game, and now they can get a little bit of rest. But I tell you what, Ant, you look through this game, and it was back and forth from the start. But most importantly, Astro grabs a 5-0 lead, 3 in the second, 2 in the top of the third on Whiting. Whiting responds with 3 in the bottom of the third and 2 in the bottom of the fourth to tie it up at 5. Astro takes a 7-5 lead, scoring 1 in the fifth and sixth, respectively. And then in the bottom of the seventh, Whiting clutches up, gets 2 runs, ties it at 7. And we had a couple of scoreless innings in extras, 8th and 9th, respectively, before Whiting walked it off in the bottom of the 10th.
In the 10th. Ben Miller, 2 for 5 with 3 RBI for Whiting to lead their offense. Corbin
Sevchik, I think.
Sevchik, he went 2 for 5 with an RBI. And then Nick Parado went 1 for 4 with 2 runs scored and an RBI as well. Owen Keister, he went 1 for 4 with a walk and an RBI. He also got the win on the mound. He went 5 innings, gave up 1 run on 2 hits, and struck out a pair. So it's hard to imagine an outing like that when you have 5 innings and only 1 earned run, and then you look at the final score and go 8-7. There was a lot of taking advantage of some new arms in the bullpen.
Yeah, Owen Keister getting the win. That's obviously you talk about huge. I mean, he came in, I believe, in the 6th and pitched all the way down into the 10th inning too. I think he closed it out for them, if I'm not mistaken. But you look at his the pitch count to 76 pitches, only 2 strikeouts to get through those 5 innings, allowing 2 hits. That means he was getting weak contact, and he was just getting quick outs on that weak contact at some point too. 76 pitches through 5 innings of work. Not a bad day's work for him.
That's just
Against a
over
really good
15
lineup.
pitches per inning, and they say, the experts say a good inning in baseball is 12 to 15 innings for pitches. So 15 right on the cusp of that, and that's efficient right
That's
there.
against a really good lineup too. So I mean, doing it against a lineup that knows how to take pitches in Astro, knows how to work your counts, and knows how to foul things off to get the pitch they want. That's a really good pitch count against a team like that.
That means Whiting moves on to the championship series, Ty. And who will they face? Well, it was a wild night on the other side of the bracket. Avalanche won the game 2, 18-0. I mean, they just smacked game 2 and said, we're taking this to game 3. But how about Creekside with some moxie and some bounce back ability? They came back from losing 18-0 and then won game 3, 10-3 to win the series.
Yeah, that's just bounce. You talk about bounce back ability. That's exactly what we saw. And yeah, Avalanche finished Creekside off in 5 innings. And it was funny because yesterday Scotty talked about the whole saving run strategy, but it kind of felt like this might have been an instance where Avalanche could have saved a couple of those runs for game 2.
When you only need 10 to run rule, I mean, you scored an extra 8, so you
That
take 8 of those
would have
runs.
helped you out a
And
lot.
actually, 8 runs added to their total when a 1 game 3 because they lost.
So I mean, Scotty might have a point on us, and he might be on to something.
Just take those runs, put them in a bag, and put them in the other game. If only it was that easy.
You being in that coaching seat though, and after you lose a game like that, 18-0, your team they tie it up, they tie the series up. What are you saying to your team before game 3 after getting beat like that?
I know it's going to sound counterintuitive, but it's almost easier when it's just so bad like that, because then you tell your team, look, that's not us by a long shot, and it's not going to happen again. Like, everything that could have went wrong, and that's baseball sometimes. But I feel like coming back from a loss like that, I mean, oh my God, I mean, it's almost easier mentally because, once again, like I said, it's like, hey, that definitely wasn't us. It wasn't our identity. Let's just go put our best foot forward in game 3. Now, I think if they would have lost like a heartbreaking fashion, like if they would have lost, on a walk-off hit or something like that, that's harder to really bounce back from because you have so much energy and then it deflates real fast. And then you have to somehow find that energy again in the next game. But remember, if you lose like 18-0, you never once had energy in that game. Like, you were deflated the whole time. So you kind of you don't have that, up and down, the roller coaster, it's easier to just kind of climb right back up if you've been down for the whole game. I mean, people can argue with me. I feel like in a doubleheader situation, it might just be easier to bounce back from a blowout to come back in game 3 than a really close, we thought we could win, then we didn't kind of game. And 5 innings means that they saved a couple of arms and they were able to come back and pitch pretty well in game 3. They only allowed 3 runs.
Yeah, I don't know, because I was gonna say too, because usually when you get blown out like that, you almost want that night. You don't want to have a game right after. You want to go take your rest, go to bed, hit that reset button, and kind of just forget all about it. Go into the next day with that clean slate, kind of fresh. But with that being the case, I mean, you talk about some mental toughness from these players. Talk about hitting a reset button super quickly. They had about 15, 20 minutes, right, to let this field crew get this field ready again for game 2 before they had to go back out there and try to win the series now, because if you lose, you go home.
I'm guessing that by the 3rd inning, they were already thinking about the next game.
Just thinking ahead.
Like, okay, we're down, however much it was.
By that time, by the 3rd inning in that game, oh wait, I have the other one up. Let me check. I know I saw Avalanche score a couple of 6-run innings, I believe. Yeah, by the third inning, Avalanche was already up 11-0.
Right. So they were already like, hey, let's just go into next game. Right.
Well,
They
yeah,
already
and then
kind of
by the
knew.
fourth, it was
So
17-0. So you had a few out. I mean, I guess that reset period was a little bit longer for Creekside than Avalanche.
yeah, I mean, and then Avalanche came in probably after winning that by that much, maybe a little bit, high on themselves, riding that roller coaster a little bit,
You think it's
bit. And then when you win like that, and then all of a sudden the game has to start back at 0-0, you kind of have to get right back into that aggressive mindset. And obviously they didn't leave their foot off the gas pedal in game 2, because they could have after they were up by 11, but they didn't, and they kept pushing. But it's hard to keep the foot on the gas pedal that long. So obviously they couldn't keep up that aggressive mindset after winning by that much in game 1.
Yeah, unfortunately not for Avalanche in this case, but in this, I guess the question is, do you feel like it's harder to kind of pull the team back up after suffering a blowout defeat, or pull the team back down after getting the win like that?
I would always rather try to pull the team back down,
Yeah,
because at
obviously.
least that means you won.
Yeah.
But obviously in this case, it was easier to kind of get back up from the blowout than it was to refocus yourself for another battle after blowing out an opponent.
It can go both ways. I mean, success and failure in this sport can make you overthink things sometimes, because you can get successful in the sport just as much as when you're having a slump and you start overthinking, what am I doing wrong? If you start hitting the ball really well, some players can kind of reverse psychology it and say, oh, what am I doing that's working so right? And start overthinking what they're doing at the plate, thinking that that's what's doing the success for them.
So Whiting wins, Creekside wins, and now it'll be Creekside Whiting tonight in game 1 of the championship series, 7:00 Eastern on Scene 1. I said Eastern as if
Eastern.
just in
Just in
case
case for
people
our
from the
West Coast
Central Time
fans,
Zone and the Pacific Time Zone are watching, which could very well be the case. 7 Eastern, Whiting versus Creekside championship, and it will be a championship that does not feature the Astro Falcons, which doesn't happen too often.
Yeah, wild, isn't it? It's just to see that, and to see what Whiting has been able to do against Astro this season, a 4-0 perfect record. And I mean, you talk about the list of teams that have been able to do that to Astro teams in the 16U and 18U division, very slim, where they can walk out with an undefeated record against them in the season.
I want to do some research and find out when the last time, if any, if there was ever a time where a Class B team went undefeated against the Astro Falcons during a regular season.
It doesn't happen too often. Astro always a great team, but we talked about the parity of this league too, and what Whiting has been able to do, and credit them because they went through a little bit of a slump right at the end of the season, and it might have been the perfect timing for it, because now they're picking it back up and they're riding a wave of momentum at the perfect timing, it seems like, in the tournament. And you know what? I came on the show yesterday and I said, even with a 1-0 lead Whiting had, I still said I think Astro takes it tonight. And Whiting made sure and ensured that didn't happen, even taking it to extras and battling toe-to-toe with Astro.
Yeah, and hey, what about the advantage of being the home team in an extra inning game?
Huge. I mean, you talk about if Whiting scores that run in the top of the inning, and then it sends it to the bottom of the 10th where Astro's only down 1, and they know that, okay, 2 wins it here. 1 ties it. We need 1. 2, we get out of here. I mean, it's a different mindset, but that's why you play the regular season, and that's why Whiting had the advantages they did too.
So Creekside Whiting, and we'll look at the matchup a little bit later in depth, but what are your initial thoughts about this matchup in 16?
I think it's going to be a really fun matchup, considering these are 2 divisional foes, both of them hosted in that Livy division, so they're very familiar with each other. They've had at least 3 games against each other, and I believe in those games too, it's a 2-1 advantage in Whiting's favor. Let me just double check that real quick. I just want to get the scores for it. Yeah, they played Creekside. That was their first loss. Remember, 3-1 against Creekside, first game of the season. May 28th. They came back, beat Creekside 8-2 on June 19th, and then they also beat Creekside 6-1 on July 2nd. But this is a 2-1 season series. Creekside hasn't won since May 28th, but they were the first one to kind of strike Whiting and put them at an 0-1 record. So
the first one to strike him in the first game of the year, and then Whiting went on a I think 11-game winning streak before they lost again.
It's almost
like
poetic that the one of the games that opened the season is the series that's going to end it.
How about that? That's a good call right there. It's a good nugget. When I'm looking at this series, Ty, I'm looking at the pitching matchups. Who's left in the arms. Creekside had to play 2 games last night. Whiting had to play a game and 3 innings just to get 1 win. And obviously Whiting and Creekside both had to play on Tuesday night as well. So they both have to dig deep in their bullpen, and everyone that pitched last night is toast because they both went more than 75 innings for Creekside and Whiting.
If you actually look at it too, it's not that bad because Creekside only technically went 2 innings longer than Whiting did. Whiting went 10. Creekside only had the 5-inning game in game
Right.
1, so it was technically only 12 innings played for Creekside.
That's true too. That's crazy. Like we played 2 games, but we only played 2 more innings than you.
Yeah, because Astro forced that game 1. That you talk about winning now. That was a huge advantage for Whiting because imagine if they had to play another 5, at the very least 5 in that next one.
Especially if they would have made that happen that night. Like you just played 10 innings, you got to come back, you got to win again tonight.
Oh man!
But like even if they didn't, then you have to adjust everything. Creekside gets an extra day off. Is that fair?
Yeah,
I think it would have been a logistical nightmare if Astro won that extra inning game because of the fact that you have to make that decision on do we play again tonight and make them play, like you said, at the least 15 innings, maybe 17 innings in one night, or do we let them play tomorrow but also give Creekside that extra day off of an advantage?
It's gonna be interesting, and I know when we look at these teams, we'll do a little.
Obviously, we don't have to even think about that decision because it didn't happen. So this is all, hypothetical, but it's an interesting discussion at least.
For the fact that right now you look at the pitching wise though with these teams, they're both kind of in the same boat where they're going to have to figure out the arms and what they want to do, and they're going to have to play with a little bit of a limited arm capacity for these first couple games. But hey, both being in the same boat is going to be intriguing because both these teams are very even, playing in a very tough division all year. And when we kind of look at the deeper dive at it, I think you said later in the show, and you'll see too when we bring up the number these teams have offensively and even defensively too, pitching wise, they're very similar in these two teams. And Creekside's another one of those teams, and that we know is a team that we often see at this stage in these tournaments too. They're a very good program.
We never went over kind of the heroes for Creekside in that game 3, and having a really good day at the plate was Jonathan Husband, who went 3 for 4 with 4 RBI. I mean, that's a big day, but they had 3 guys with multiple hits as he was joined by Davison Smale and also Frank Sinadak that had multiple hits as well. Smale had 2 RBIs to go along with Husband's 4. A pair of RBI for Jackson Cheeks as well. And then the pitching for Creekside, they used 2 pitchers. Smale pitched 4 innings and threw 65 pitches. And then Tyler McCullen, sorry, stumbled.
Yeah, I think
I had it from wrestling and I couldn't quite get it out. McCullen came up with 3 innings pitched. They both gave up 1 earned run, and they both pitched right around 65 pitches. McCullen pitched a little bit more with 67.
And you see that too. I mean, both these teams, they got guys that can battle. They got guys too that can get in the long counts and they could come out on top. And that's tough too when you get into those batter pitcher matchups. But they also have guys that know how to go through quick innings. And when you need a quick inning, you need to set them down in like 15 pitches or less. They got plenty of guys that are capable of doing just that as well.
All right, Ty, let's go over the 18U scores from last night as well. We had 2 more games that were playing games. One team was going to be eliminated. We knew that. And in the elimination game, it was Dura Edge that beat Ballistic 9-1. Impressive bounce back. I mean, Ballistic barely lost to Nightline last night. I mean, the last night, 2 nights ago now. But Dura Edge comes back. They didn't look like the more impressive team in the first round of play-ins, but they bounced back with a 9-1 win over Ballistic.
And honestly, it came down to where I think Ballistic was just running out of arms, because you see the number of guys in this game that threw an inning. They utilized, I believe, a total of 6 pitchers last night did Ballistic. I think it was just they were running out of arms. They were running out of guys available to use, and Ballistic had to kind of go pitcher by committee. Everyone gets an inning. Where on the other side, Dura Edge, they had a guy rested up by the name of Ryan Gallagher that went the 7-inning performance, 6 hits allowed, 1 earned run.
That's big for Dura Edge because they have to come back and play again tonight too. So to have that and then have someone eat up 7 innings so you don't have to use anybody else, it saves arms for tonight. It's going to be their third.
In the 7 innings too, he allowed 6 hits. I mentioned, walked 2. He only struck out 3. 83 pitches to get through those 7 innings.
That's not bad at all.
I mean, that's right on that cusp of, I think, right under 12, if I'm not mistaken, or right around 12, I think. I think it's under 12.
It's 11 point. If you round up, it's 11.9, so right under 12.
Yeah, so right there, that's efficiency at its best, and
right.
What a game. What a game by him.
3 strikeouts with 3 pitches would be 9 pitches per inning, so you're only 3 pitches above that per inning. That's impressive. And he gave up 6 hits along the way. Usually you see efficiency like that. They don't give up a lot of hits, and they also don't strike a lot of guys out because strikeouts usually take more pitches too. But 6 hits, and he still goes 12 pitches per inning.
Did a heck of a job too. Heck of a job. Pitched them into a good spot in this tournament.
That was the difference between, I believe, 2 days rest and 3 days rest, if I'm not mistaken. The fact that he was able to keep it under the 90s.
I believe you're correct. I can check the OHSA.
I know. We always have to check this. We should write down these numbers one of these times.
I think the pitch count rule is, from what I remember. No, I just have it. I have it right there. 2 days rest is 3 days rest. You need anything over 76 pitches. So.
Okay, so he's still toast for 3 days.
Yeah, for 3 days, but still not a bad outing too at 83 pitches on that affair too, and he did it very
close.
efficiently.
They could have probably saved him for a 2-day if they fit someone.
But now you have all the other arms available. You didn't use any other arms that game. He went the complete game for you, and your arms are all ready for the next one.
And speaking of the next one, the next final in 18U went to Nightline 12-3. They flexed their muscles on the Athletics.
Nightline gets themselves, I think, nestled now into that 4 spot where they're, I think, going to play the Athletics now in a series, and they just beat them. So what kind of advantage, disadvantage does each team have going into a series now that you already played each other? It's not technically a 4-game series, but it could be 4 games in a row against the same team.
It's kind of an awkward situation because you went into that game, if you're Athletics and Nightline, knowing that you were going to play each other, and it was regardless you were going to play each other.
Playing each other.
So it's like, what do you do with that? How much do you show? Who do you throw? That's a really strategic game there. It's almost like, why are we even playing almost, right? Because who cares who's the 4 and the 5? We're playing each other anyway. So the only caveat is one team is the home team. So Nightline got the 4 seed and Athletics got the 5 because they won that game. So basically what they were playing for was who gets to be the home field advantage team in the series.
And really what you saw too, Nightline obviously wants that home field advantage. They took it. They did pitch Ronnie Harper in this, but we talk about strategy, and Coach Otto is really one of the best as far as knowing his pitches, knowing what he's got. Stopped Harper at 74 pitches, so he's under that. So it's 2 days rest, and Harper in this game against them went 4 innings, allowed 3 hits, 1 earned run, struck out 8, walked 2. I mean, he's just unbelievable. The kid continues to shine. And 74 pitches thrown, that means only 2 days rest are needed now for him.
That means that if if they make it to Saturday, Ronnie Harper will be available.
And that's huge. That's huge for them as well.
Uh, so Nightline and Athletics play tonight, and then the other final from 18U. Oh, we already went through the other matchup from 18U. Excuse me, is going to be the Avalanche against Dura Edge. That game will be on Scene 1 at 8 o'clock. Both those games will be on Scene 1. It'll be a doubleheader. Nightline versus the Athletics at 5:30. Avalanche versus Dura Edge at 8.
It's going to be a great time, I think, as both those matchups are going to be intriguing, as you have Creekside and Astro waiting at the 1 and 2 seed for the winners of those respective
Yeah,
seeds.
they're waiting tomorrow. I mean, they're waiting tomorrow. Tomorrow, the winners will play Astro and Creekside.
So it'll be a fun matchup indeed to see what's going to come of it, as Nightline now goes to battle, and you see the final four left. Ballistic now, great season though for Ballistic. I do want to
great
make sure.
season.
Great
And-
season for Ballistic. It's just unfortunate that baseball's fickle. Sometimes you lose a close one
Look.
like that Nightline, and then it just doesn't work out the next night.
Well, in Ballistic's corner, they were a team all year that won mainly with their bats. Like their offense would get them wins. They would score double digits a lot. They scored 2 runs in 2 games. That's not their style of baseball. That's not how they win games, and I think that was their downfall. Unable to bring the bats with them.
I hate to say it because I feel like it's just the case, but I'm a pitching guy and indeed, and I always say during this time of the year, pitching rules all, and you see it.
It's funny how that happens though. Like all of a sudden the playoffs come around and good offenses can't quite match up with the pitchers anymore.
The amps can go to 11 once you go to playoff time,
and it takes one little mental twitch to get the difference between a good hit and a miss hit, right? So if you're just a little bit tight at the plate, it's going to massively affect your ability to be effective.
Yeah, absolutely. This game is a lot.
And again, that could be said by the pitcher. I mean, if they miss their spot by a couple of inches, it's the difference between, a base hit and a strikeout sometimes.
That's why, I mean, I feel like the pitchers, that's where your bread is buttered, is during the tournament time, is what's on the mound, who's on the mound.
Bread is buttered. Okay.
That's what that it lives and dies with, who's on the mound and what they're doing, and who has the most depth and who can step up the biggest time too. Because honestly, we see it. You see it at the major league level. You'll see it at every level. The best pitchers in the regular season aren't always the best during the tournament time either. And the same case with hitters.
All right, we did this with 16U. I want to do it with 18U too. Your quick first impressions of the matchups tonight between Athletics and Nightline in round 2, I guess you could say, and then Avalanche and Dura Edge. Well, we're gonna go in depth on the matchups a little bit later in the show, but first impressions of these matchups.
For Avalanche right now, I think I'm looking at just what Avalanche has been waiting in the wings for. They have a lot of rest, so this is going to be a huge advantage for them. I know they lead and they have advantages over Dura Edge in a few categories, but I don't think that stopped Dura Edge right now because they're on some kind of streak and they're feeling themselves. So I think it's going to be an interesting matchup. On the other side, Athletics, it's going to be, how are you going to bounce back against Nightline, against the team you just lost to? And for Nightline, they've been rolling. They've been able to get big wins up until this point. Can they keep it rolling to get themselves into the tournament now, top 4?
What I think is interesting about especially the matchups tonight and the play-in games, like all 5 of those teams that were duking out really for 3rd through 7th, because Avalanche did not win 3rd by a lot. I mean, it was like they had to, I think they won it by maybe a game or 2. So they were right there in the conversation of, dropping out a spot or someone trying to beat them into 3rd place. So there was so much parity between 3rd place in 18U and down in 7th place. So really, you could say whether the matchup was Avalanche or Edge, Avalanche Athletics, Avalanche Ballistic, whatever that matchup was, it's a pretty evenly matched game. Like, this is not a gimme for Avalanche at all, even though they've been sitting and waiting. And we've said it a couple of times. Tonight's going to be the conversation, rest versus, momentum. Who has the advantage? The team that was sitting all week and trying to prepare, or the team that's coming in off of 2 games and has that momentum of a win.
Yeah, and like we said, it's certainly the rest versus rust debate when you get to these points. Is Avalanche gonna be?
I don't get rest versus rust. Like, doesn't rust come from resting?
No, there's well, it's more or less that
That's why I was
does
confused when I tried to say
rest
it.
beneficial or does rest make you rusty?
I get it.
That's the
It's
debate.
rest or rust.
But you can
I would
also
say
you're
I would word it rest or rust, because rest versus rust makes it sound like they're adversarial.
I guess,
Anyway, that's
but
how my mind works. Sorry for the tangent. Doesn't really matter. It's trivial. Point is, who's going to have the edge tonight? I didn't even intend for that pun. Dura Edge, who's coming in with some games under their belt this week and obviously off the win last night. Or Avalanche, who's just kind of been sitting cool. They're going to throw their number one. They're going to be fresh, but they don't have the momentum and the energy of coming off a win. So it's going to be interesting to see who kind of comes out aggressive and who comes out as the team that has a little bit more in the tank.
should be a fun matchup indeed. As Dura Edge winning some games to get to this point, Avalanche have been waiting for their opponent, and now they just figured out who their opponent was last night.
I want to put my Nostradamus hat on real quick. If I had to guess how this game would go, I would guess that Dura Edge comes out with an early lead because they have momentum and they have energy, but they can't sustain it because of the fact that they've played twice and they're kind of not the fresh team. So I think Avalanche wins tonight in a comeback. That's what I'm gonna try to.
That's the call for it. Should
Call.
be interesting. It should be interesting to see which one of these teams can get their motors running first, because, like we said, playing and winning games just a few nights ago, both Dura Edge and Ballistic knew if they were winning that game, they were going to play Avalanche. Avalanche did not know who their opponent was until the conclusion of that game. So that's where I feel like there's another thing that's interesting going into this matchup as well. So Dura Edge has been winning. They know what the next one up was right after that game, and Avalanche had a day to get ready for the opponent, because I don't know if Avalanche necessarily expected Dura Edge to come out of it.
All right, Ty, you'll have to help me out with this. I was going to do the Little League baseball recaps, but the website does not have a score for the 9U game that you did.
Oh, it was 11-2, Canfield 9U over Boardman 9U.
All right, talk about what you saw from that game and some of the things some of the standout players and the things that happened.
I mean, honestly, you see what Canfield brought to the table. There was just some great pitching all the way around, and honestly, what we saw too, big bats all the way too, from 1 through 9 for Canfield. Camille Shimon was one that came up big with a huge 4 RBI day for the Cards. And you talk about a guy that was just putting it into the outfield, all sorts of places. He was going left, right, center. He was hitting it all over the place, grabbed a couple of base hits, drove home some runs. And really, that was what we saw with Canfield too. They were getting guys on with walks. They were moving them over on those wild pitches, but they were also getting the hits to bring in. And how about Canfield pitching? They were able to bend at points, but they never broke. They walked a few guys, but did not allow a hit to the Boardman bats. And all that combined with a multitude of pitching allowed Canfield coming on top 11-2.
All right, so with the win, Canfield will move on to play Poland on Friday night. They advanced to play in that battle of 224 that we were kind of hyping up yesterday. So that's what's going to happen on Friday night. They'll have a day off before that in the 9U age bracket. 10U starts tonight. We talked about that yesterday. And then we'll go into the results of the 11U and the 12U games from last night as well. We go to 11U first. As soon as it loads. And it was Canfield getting the win over Struthers to stay alive in the elimination game. 10-8, a close one, high-scoring affair. Canfield advances, and then Boardman gets 9-1 win over Poland in the winner's bracket game. That means tonight, Poland will play Canfield in the elimination game. The winner will move on to play Boardman on Monday in the championship. I want to say series, but Boardman will only have to win once to take it.
So it'll be interesting to see if Boardman can hold it off and not allow it to go to another game.
And then we go to 12U, as DJ Oakley was on the call for these games, so I'm sure he'll have a much more in-depth recap for the Power Hour, as he saw a lot of great action. Poland got the 10-0 win over Canfield in the elimination game, and Boardman was all over Austintown 9-0 in the winners bracket game. So Boardman moves on to the championship on Monday, and tonight it will be Poland versus Austintown in the elimination game to see who will join them.
And it's going to be exciting to see which teams that's going to be, because during this time you never know who's going to come up big, especially with the bottom of the order for all of these teams being as dangerous as all of them are.
And those are the only two games that are going on tonight. Once again, the 10U will be in action tonight as well. I want to go over those matchups real quick as 10U gets started tonight in Little League Baseball. And it will be tonight on L2, Canfield versus Boardman at 6 o'clock, and at 8 o'clock, Poland versus Austintown. So that's the start of the 10U bracket as they start tonight, and then we'll have so I guess you call them semifinals between the elimination games on 11U and 12U. Austintown versus Poland in 12U, and what did I say? All these names are
12U, 10U.
No, in 11U. I forget I already forget the names of the teams that are. I just said it like 10 seconds ago. That's how my mind is just gone. Poland versus Canfield tonight in the elimination game in 11U.
Another battle at 224 for that one too. So plenty of Little League Baseball on the network.
A lot on the line. A lot on the line. This is when the pressure meets the road, because it's. I always say in this scenario, the winner of the losers bracket game from last night has a little bit of edge, because at least they're coming off a win. They're both fighting for their lives. It's win or go home, but it's harder to come off a win and go into the next game than have to bounce back from a loss and then come back and fight for your life the next day.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about that too. With a win, momentum is a crazy thing in this sport too, and I feel like momentum rides in so many waves with baseball, and then you could sometimes catch it for a long time, and sometimes it can be very fickle, and it can make you crash and burn at times as well. So it's going to be interesting to see if the bounce back ability and that playing with a chip on the shoulder kind of prevails, or that momentum of coming off of a win shines through.
So it will be, once again, Canfield versus Poland tonight in 11U. And then we'll have the start of the 10U games, and we'll have the 12U game between Austintown and Poland in the elimination bracket as well. So a lot of Poland representation in all the divisions.
Too. Yeah, Poland is well represented.
Boardman's in both the championship series, so they're good to go. And we're seeing some domination from a couple of programs.
And it just showcases why these programs are good at the varsity level, and they stay good at the varsity level. Like we say it all the time. And I think coaches will echo it, and they'll shout it to the heavens that it starts and ends with the youth of the program. How many kids are interested, and how many kids are interested at younger ages, and how long they stick with the program. And you talked about the names that you're going to see in the varsity level here in just a couple of years in the softball scene. You're going to be the same way in baseball as well. All these names that are coming up being productive for their teams now, expect them to be productive in a couple of years for their respective high schools.
Ty, I also want to give a shout out to a team that was brought to our attention on social media. The United 14U baseball team went 22-2 in their I guess in their league this season to win the championship. And they beat 21-3 Springfield. So it was 22-2 United, 21-3 Springfield for the championship. And they beat them. They beat them in the 14U Pony League Championship to win that. So United Baseball, the moral of the story, United Baseball looks good coming up. I mean, 14U, that's like a year off. You're going to be of freshmen next season. Here comes United with a really strong class in baseball, and Springfield too. I mean, 21-3. That's a good season as well.
Flexing their muscles on them. Flexing their muscles, doing a great job at it too. And surprise, surprise, the programs have been good, are going to stay good. So
United baseball, they're not going anywhere. Neither is Springfield. And congratulations to United's 14U team once again for winning the 14U Pony League Championship with a final record of 22-2. Impressive indeed. And we wish them the best of luck in their future endeavors. And we hope to see a lot of those names pop up on the varsity level here in the years to come. We're going to take our first break of the day. We'll be back with more Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our family's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
When looking for home design inspiration, don't just be inspired, be Baird inspired. Whether new or remodeling, Baird Brothers has the latest trends like shiplap to refresh your home. Go from inspiration to installation with our wide selection of in-stock American hardwoods. From the rustic charm of antique oak to the warmth of traditional cherry, Baird Brothers has what you need to make your home inspiring. Baird Brothers, our family's heritage, your family's home.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa.
And I'm Kelsey Klim from K-Squared Marketing.
Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships.
We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team.
Your goals, our game plan.
Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes, like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com or find us on Facebook.
Jimmy Sudman here, Director of Isle, Purple Cat, and Golden String. We are happy to support YSN and two of my favorite people, Scotty Mincher and Super Dave O'Malley. We're an agency that provides services for adults with disabilities. We infuse humor, passion, and joy into their lives. If you know of any folks with disabilities that need our assistance, please contact us.
How lucky are we to have not one, but two 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring PGA professionals, golf instruction, a players rewards club, kids programs, and a pro shop and grill room for a memorable golf experience. Call or click to schedule your tee time at Mill Creek Golf Course.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we offer a worry-free experience for all our customers. From sales to financing and even service, we'll help build your perfect vehicle
and lock in your trade value
while your vehicle is being built.
No worries.
We guarantee financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history. No worries. And when your vehicle needs service,
our award-winning team will get you back on the road.
No worries.
That's what going the extra mile means. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Now is the time to think about your future, where you want to go, what you want to be. Your future can start now at Kent State Salem or Kent State East Liverpool. We have programs that will open doors and provide opportunities for you to pursue your passion. We are affordable, we are close. You call it hometown, we call it Kent State University. Learn more at www.kent.edu/Columbiana. You belong here.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin Down. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. And Ty, we continue this Thursday episode, and I want to give a shout out to Garfield Football, who shared on their social media accounts that they are looking for some assistant coaches. So if you're out there, you're watching, you're a football coach that is still looking for a job, or maybe you want to get into football, whatever it is. Ty, I don't think there's too many better programs to kind of get your feet wet in football coaching than Garrettsville Garfield.
I mean, look at the season they just had last year. I mean, it kind of speaks for itself.
I mean, I mean, this is a program that knows how to succeed, right? This is a program that builds great tradition and great foundation on success. We had just got our first taste of it last year because they just signed with us last football season. But I think if you're a fan of area football, especially in the past, I mean, because Garfield is not really in the coverage map of the local sports media, but our local teams have played Garrettsville Garfield in the playoffs for years. I mean, it's just like it's a mainstay, Garrettsville Garfield right there. So I don't think there are many better programs to try to start football coaching in than Garrettsville Garfield.
No, and I mean that's any sport. I feel like Garrett's from Garfield. Yeah, I mean Garfield does a fantastic job at just getting athletes ready in all sorts of sports, a multitude of sports, but certainly football has been one of those programs that just knows how to succeed. So if you want to get under some really good tutelage of some great coaching and some great minds that are hosted over there in Garrettsville, I think you should throw an application over that way too to give yourself a chance to start out with a really good program.
They're also looking for coaches in the middle school program. So middle school and high school assistant football coaches, they are on the hunt for. If you're interested, contact Jim Fleeger at jfleeger with a P. So it's PFLEGR, JPFLEGER at jagschools.org. And that's how you will make the contact if you're interested. So once again, Garrettsville Garfield, they are on the hunt for some new assistant coaches. We want to help them out as part of the YSN family and sharing that and getting that out there. So like me and Ty said, there aren't too many programs that if I was interested in coaching football that I'd want to hatch my wagon onto.
No doubt, no doubt. And looking at what Garrettsville Garfield has just been able to do football-wise it's impressive. And they got to introduce themselves to the YSN family in full force too. So if you haven't gotten a chance to be introduced to them, all of their football games too, and all of our Garrettsville Garfield coverage of all kinds of sports can of course be found on YSN Live's website, ysnlive.com, and you can find all of those games, all those old games too, that are available for purchase as well.
Ty, they're going in their second year of the MVAC, which is exciting as well. I mean, you were starting to see rivalry start to build with some of these teams. I think Garfield versus Crestview is becoming kind of one of those rivalries in many sports, not just football, but we saw it heat up in volleyball. We saw it heat up in basketball on both sides.
Softball for sure.
Softball for sure. I don't think it's just because they have the same color scheme either. Who's the best black and gold team in the NVAC? Well, let's find out.
I'm excited. Girls basketball, Garfield versus Liberty is going to be fun this year. I mean, Garfield is a program that just knows how to get. Aaron Gilbert just knows how to bring great talent into that program. So that'll be a fun rivalry extended.
We are one Friday away from 5 Fridays until football. And I think once it hits 4, then it starts to get really real. So,
oh, man. Stomach is
it's making my lungs get all congested.
No, I think once you see these little leagues and the scene Class B baseball, I should say, wrap up, is when you start seeing us start getting into the football mood, football mindset. I think, once you get under like 4 and then it's like 3 weeks away, 2 weeks away, especially, it's like, all right, football's here. We can't deny it any longer at that point.
It's gonna feel weird because football starts a week earlier this year, so it's gonna take some time getting used to.
And I keep checking too, and like for my daughter, she goes back to school back in like I think August 17th. like middle of August now. Like it's
like when I was in high school, we didn't go back till after the Canfield Fair.
Fitch would do something weird towards the tail end. I think my last year, senior year of high school, we went back for like 2 days and then be off for a whole week for the Canfield Fair and then go.
The trade-off was when I was in South Range, we were in school longer than everyone else. Like everyone else would get off in maybe like May, and we'd go the first week of June and then get off. But I was always saying I would rather have, because the weather really doesn't start to turn in this area of the country until you get out of May. Like in May, you're still in that spring weather.
Yeah.
You'll get 50s, 60s, maybe an off day. You'll get 80s every now and then. But you'll also, we've had May weather where it's been like, hey, it's snowing because it's May. And why not Ohio? That has happened to us. But it never happens in June, July, or August. So I would rather have August completely off. That was my mindset, and not go back till after the fair. Now I think South Range goes a week, and then they still have to be off for the fair because they have so many students that are in 4-H. So they cannot be in session during the fair. They would have so many students just take off the days. So I think they go like for a week, and then they're off for the week of the fair, and then they come back. I feel like that would throw me into a stress ball of mental, like you get back into school mode, and you're off for a week, and then you have to get right back into school mode.
I think that's why Fitch only did like a 2-day week before they gave us the week off for the fair, because like it was literally just like every class you went to, here's the syllabus, here's kind of how the class breaks down. That's it.
Now, what do you do for that second day? Like we can't start anything.
Exactly. It's just kind of
that's when the sadistic teachers say, here's like 5 chapters of homework for your week off.
It's no, always the Canfield Fair seems to dictate a lot of school starting times and like how things are affected for at least the Mahoning County region. But
in this year, for the first time ever, Canfield Fair had 2 sessions because they had that they had those couple days of the fair that around Memorial Day, if you remember. So they had 2 sessions of the Canfield Fair. They had the spring session, and they'll have the normal session as we know it and love it.
They started doing the spring session too, and I mean, I don't see why not. It bring a couple more vendors in there too, and people love it. People love fair food, and that's evident.
They don't say this outright, but I think they're trying to rebound from that lost year of COVID. I think they're trying to get their feet back under them.
To say what hasn't been, I guess, said yet. I mean, that's absolutely what you're trying to.
It makes sense. It totally makes sense because
all kinds of examples of that from a multitude of not only just companies but venues and things that are just doing extra. I mean, I've seen, how many and I'm a haunted house guy. If you don't know me, I love doing like haunted houses. Me and my wife
do it. Like one time, I'm in the wheelchair. This was before I had a seatbelt. Caveat to the story, and everyone that knows me knows that I jump really easily. So I'm in this wheelchair. I'm not comfortable because I know something's gonna jump out at me, and it happens. Fall out of the wheelchair right on the floor. It's a big scene. The mummy's like trying to help me up into the chair. He felt bad. Probably ruined the experience for everyone else because he couldn't scare anyone because he was helping me back into the chair. No, I don't do it. It's bad. I would probably punch a clown if it jumped out at me on just reflex.
I bring up the love that I have for him just to mention the fact that I've seen like
if I want that feeling, I'll do it in the safety of my own home with a scary movie.
Yeah, there you go. But there's like haunted houses I'm seeing that are like every month. They've done one for like Valentine's Day. They've done one for like a Christmas themed one. They've done like a summer one now. It's like it's getting kind of wild how many like they're doing.
Did your significant other break up with you right before Valentine's Day? Well, here's a good idea. Take her to a haunted house and make her die of fear.
And it's like X on the haunted house. He can't talk about it. He's too scared anymore.
I think I am permanently scarred from when I was young, and they took me to Yellow Duck Park, which doesn't exist anymore. But this mummy, you drive through. It was a drive-through like haunted. I don't know.
Trail.
This mummy jumped up on our car and slammed on the window, and I've been jumpy ever since. So. I always blame my parents for permanently scarring me for life at Yellow Duck Park.
That's why your mom's a bouncer. She drove through Yellow Duck Park every
that's
single
exactly
day
it.
of her life. She's just like repping. She's like nothing.
Nothing gets past this barrier anymore.
Oh man,
Gotta
no.
get her an earpiece for the next time that we have her in the press box, and she can just be like, the trespasser in press box 2.
Oh man, no, but you talk about that and talking, I guess, about that you having the earpiece. It just reminded me too of our man Mike Ackelson with what he did sideline reporting wise for football season, and bringing up football season just brings up all those memories too of last season and how we got bigger and better, and adding that too, and Mike Ackelson adding more of his time and donating more of his time to us and to all the fans of the area.
We got more and more comfortable with that technology, because basically if you watch the Penn Ohio game, which was completely mic'd up with Sean Guerrero, that was pretty much the same it was the same idea and the same method that we used to have Mike Ackelson mic'd up on the sidelines. So we're getting more and more comfortable with that. So I think there might be some broadcasts that have a third member and a sideline reporter for these regular season football games. And then when we get into the second round of playoffs and then audible call, is done for the season, I'm sure Mike Ackelson will be right back out on those sidelines doing some sideline reporting for us. I mean, we're going to take the next step, because that was kind of the field test the first time we did it with Mike Ackelson. Now we've done it a couple more times, and I think we're a lot more comfortable with the method and the technology and what we have to do to do it. So I think this year you're going to see a lot more expansion into that idea, having a third member on the sidelines to give us the perspective of what the teams are going through, what they saw from the sideline, and some more insight into these broadcasts.
Yeah, and I mean, we're always excited
Obviously,
too.
we can't mic coaches up during a regular season football game because they wouldn't want to give out their cadences and their signals or anything like that. But I think we're gonna have a lot more three broadcaster broadcasts with a sideline reporter in the future.
That's going to be exciting. And I mean, just exciting to see how Audible Call continues to get bigger and better. We mentioned that yesterday too. Expect bigger and better things too, as we always are looking to improve year in and year out here at YS. And Mike Ackelson is going to be on for another year for our YSN's Audible Call.
We quickly find out all you really need is to put StreamYard on your phone and then have a headset, not a headset, but headphones. You don't have to walk out there with one of our broadcast sets, but just had the headphones in so you can hear when we bring you on. And, that's been working really well. I think that's what you tried to do for the baseball all-star game too.
It's pretty cool too, just to be able to find the ways to incorporate new ways.
One thing you will never be able to say about YSN Ty, we do not rest on success. Okay, that worked. It worked really well this season, and we will never be the company that sits back and says, okay, it works, we're done. We're always going to find the next thing. How do we build on it? How do we make it better? How do we do the next thing? And last year it was, okay, we had Audible Call. How do we make Audible Call even better? And we did make it even better. Now this year it's going to be like, okay, what can we do next with Audible Call? What can we do next with YSN Primetime on Thursday nights before the big game on Friday? We're gonna be in what's the word I'm looking for? It's not inventing, but it's an I word.
Incorporating?
No.
I don't know where you're going with
it. It's gone.
Yeah, I think I know.
I wanted to say intuitive, but intuitive isn't it either.
Derailed.
It's gone.
Off the track.
It's a word that means, obvious, always coming up with new things, and I can't. No, I said it wasn't inventive. I don't.
Innovative is what you.
Innovative. There it is. Innovative. I feel like Jack Sparrow when he finally found out what
innovative.
Parlay. Parsnip, parlay. Innovative is the word I was looking for. Thank you, Ty.
Yeah. No,
thank you.
But we talk about football season approaching, and we're obviously excited about that. But hey, something that's still here, still sticking around. We still have Class B baseball here. We still have Little League districts, and we also have to preview too those games for Class B as well.
We absolutely do, because now we're in the the semifinals for 18 for 16U, and we're kind of in that. I guess you would call them first round of the actual playoffs for 18U, where you have to win this game to get to the semifinals against the Creekside and Astro Falcons, who are waiting in the wings on Friday. So we got games a lot on the line again tonight, where we have elimination night in Little League Baseball, and we also have playoff night round 2 in 16U and 18U baseball down at Seton Park.
And if I'm not mistaken, I feel like the 16U is the championship series, if I'm not mistaken.
It is Whiting versus Creekside championship series.
And I believe it is going to go. It's best of 5 in the championship. So
best 3 out of 5.
Got to beat them 3 times. Whiting versus Creekside. They're 2-1 again. Whiting is 2-1 against Creekside on the season.
When you look at the Scrappers, they got a win last night as well. You can find a recap of that on ysnlive.com. I'm going to bring up the box score real quick. Ty, if you can fill up some dead air while it loads.
Yeah. Looking, I guess just looking at these games too over at Bobsine Park, I'm really going to be interested too, because now you're in a series mentality. So now it's not just find a way to beat this team that you've beaten the other times. You got to remember, when Whiting and Creekside went against each other, there was significant time between each one of their games, with at least 10 days in between. So now you're going to have to play this team right again, the next one. It goes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Every game, 1 in a row. So you play that same team again. It's going to be interesting strategies you're going to have to find.
3-1, the Scrappers got the win over State College, and it was a game where State College got the early run, and it was 1-0 after 1, and then the Scrappers scored 3 in the 6th to get the 3-1 victory. 3 runs on 3 hits, no errors, and 1 run on 3 hits, no errors for State College. So it was a pitcher's duel. The RBI for Scrappers, 2 of them actually came from DeZenzo, who went 1 for 3 with 2 RBI and a run scored. And then you look at some extra base hits, a double for Chuntley and a triple for DeCenzo, who he must have had a 2 RBI triple. That's what I'm guessing. And he has 9 RBI on the day. It was a 2-out triple as well.
Did it in the clutch.
5 innings pitched, and then they had 4 guys pitch an inning apiece. And like I said, the pitching staff only gave up 1 earned run and 3 hits total. They struck out 15, walked 6. That's a great strikeout to walk ratio.
That's a very great strikeout to walk ratio too. As I mean, if you finish guys off at the plate, it's not allowing them to be productive with their outs.
And then we go to the updated standings in the draft league to see where the Scrappers sit. And they are sitting right now at 4th, 14-14 on the season. They are 3.5 games back of Williamsport, who is 17-12. The win over State College, who is sitting in last place, very important. How about this? Remember West Virginia? The first 2 weeks of the season, they looked abysmal. And then they got those wins at home over Williamsport when the Scrappers and Williamsport were both tied. And it really turned the tide. Now all of a sudden, West Virginia, 16-13, sitting in second place, just a game back.
That's wild too.
If you watch them in especially the first week of the season when the Scrappers played them twice, and now this obviously goes into the fact that the rosters are constantly kind of evolving in the draft league. They're 10-day contracts. But if you would have watched that team the first week when they played the Scrappers, and I would have told you this is going to be a team contending for the championship, you would have looked at me, slapped me, taken my hot dog, eaten it, and then walked to the next row.
Pretty passionate about that one. Oh man, but that's what I love the most about baseball. I mean, it's a long season in multiple.
Why can't that happen to the Royals?
I'm sorry. Your World Series win 7 years ago isn't good enough.
Why can't we go from like absolutely stinking in April and May and just be like, we're good now?
In your memory to make you happy. The fact that you've seen a Super Bowl and a World Series win in the last 7 years
doesn't take away from all but 2 years of my life, the Royals have been absolutely terrible. But the 2 years were pretty good.
Yeah,
That's
I
two
mean,
good years.
that's all you get.
That's all I get.
You get. Oh man, no, but that's the beautiful thing about baseball. We've seen teams go on hot streaks, and we've seen teams that are red hot all of a sudden lose it, and it's a game of constantly adjusting. Hitters are adjusting, pitchers are adjusting. Everyone's watching film, trying to find holes in the swings, trying to find ways you're tipping pitches, trying to find shifts defensively that might work against certain bats. There's all kinds of strategy that goes into it. Players are constantly adjusting, and that's why you'll see they'll figure something out for a stretch of time too. And if you can get everyone to do it, you can go on a hot streak.
Tonight is an off night for the draft league. No one is in action. Tomorrow, the Scrappers return home. Well, I shouldn't say return home. They stay at home because they were home last night as well. They will play West Virginia, that team we were just talking about. And that will be a 3-game series. Ridley Giuliano will be on the call. And tomorrow, don't forget, we're giving away Scrappers tickets. Are you muted?
It went to a different mic again. Yeah. Go ahead and get on and make sure you can get yourself some tickets to the Scrappers. We could get you booked to that.
Absolutely. And that'll be tomorrow. But today we still have more games to preview, and we'll go over the matchups tonight, what they have in store, what they look like. We'll go in detail on the Class B playoff matchups and have some fun with that when we get back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Reliability, innovation, scale. These 3 values are those we look forward to in our business and in our team. If you're ready for a reliable employer who looks constantly to think outside the box in big ways, we're ready for you. Apply now. Help us push the envelope and deliver success. Envelope 1. Take that one extra step.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun. It all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new world in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
WRS Wealth Advisors, the area's premier wealth and retirement specialists. Located on South Avenue in Boardman.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
We are Kent State in the Valley. Start and finish one of more than 25 bachelor's or associate degree programs, or start one of Kent State's 280 majors. With low tuition, public, and plenty of scholarship opportunities, we will help you maximize your education and minimize student debt. Enjoy the benefits of a smaller campus with all the opportunities of a large university. Save money, stay close to home. Apply today by visiting kent.edu/Trumbull.
WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist.
With our combined 70 years experience, WRS Wealth Advisors is the area's premier wealth and retirement specialist. Call 330-965-0370 to learn more about our individual and corporate financial planning services, or visit wrswealth.com. Good luck, athletes.
Quality, customer service, and integrity. Those are the 4 words that have driven our success since 1957 at Joe Dickey Electric.
Joe Dickey Electric is one Mahoning Valley landmark business that stays current with the requirements of our customers. Family owned and managed, we are an electrical contractor and energy solutions provider. Every member of our team adds to his or her skill set through ongoing training. Residential, commercial, industrial, automotive, and more. We keep ahead of the needs of our customers with a fleet of more than 50 vehicles and 24/7 emergency service, so you're never left in the dark.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. And point up to Greenwood, let's go. We are so happy that they have continued to sponsor our show, and they are one of our dear friends, and they've been our sponsor since the very beginning. So we thank Greenwood for all their hard work, and they go the extra mile for you, which is what we try to do every day for our local athletes. Ty, before we get to our previews of the games tonight and the diving deep into the matchups, want to give a shout out to our buddy Quinn Puchkar, who is in his element and this week in the Run for Roses in Louisville, Kentucky. His team is 4-0 right now and down there, 3-0 in pool play. They're starting bracket play in the platinum bracket today. Actually, they're underway right now. They started at 12:32. I love how it was a very specific time too. We are starting at 12:32. Is the start time for their game. They are playing 2027 Southeast Dynasty in bracket play. If they win, they play tomorrow at 5:04 against the winner of TNBA Houston, and it looks like Ohio Hoopers Monarchs are playing in the game above them. They'll be playing tomorrow. So Quinn and his 2027 Ohio Lakers, we wish them the best of luck. They're having a great showing down in Louisville, Kentucky. They are like I said, they're 4-0 right now, and they are currently playing a bracket play game against a dynasty team.
And that's going to be exciting to see too, as Quinn doing a great job too, and showcasing he's one of the best, brightest young minds in the area too, as far as basketball coaching is concerned. And I can only imagine a bright future ahead for Quinn Push.
Eric Bailey's team, which has a lot of YSN talent in its own right, is also in action today at 1:40. So they are not in action yet. They're coming up at 1:40, and they will be playing 2023 Lady Hoop Masters. That's a cool name, from Maryland, at 1:40. And they've had a good showing in Louisville as well, as they have won a couple games, and a lot of YSN talent on their side of things as well. So we wish both those guys, we love so much, we wish them both the best of luck. We're cheering for you, and let's go get a win in bracket play and bring home some gold that represents our area. A lot of YSN talent on both teams, future YSN talent on Quinn's team, and current YSN talent on EB's team.
Yeah, we're excited for it. We're certainly excited for it too, as getting to cover these athletes too, and in all sorts of areas too, and there's always connections to YSN everywhere.
EB's got a 2023 team, so all those girls are down there playing in front of legitimate college coaches that are sitting at their games trying to watch for future players. And if you show out like they have, you're going to open some eyes. I mean, I would say 90% of, I would say Division I big coaches are at this tournament. Gino Oriema is always there. So if that tells you how big this event is, UConn, which is the most prestigious women's basketball team in college basketball, makes a mainstay here. So if he's there, everyone has the opportunity to be there. Not saying that every school in the nation is there. That'd be kind of ludicrous to go out and make a statement like that. But it's not something that any program would say no to going to. That's kind of, I guess, the point of it. You're muted again, bud.
there's plenty of eyes watching during this time too. So you never know who's watching, and remember that it's all actions on and off the court that count too, not just.
Oh yes, off especially. I mean, we've talked about it before. You never know who's watching when. Like they could be watching you when you're done playing, and how you interact with your teammates after you play, or how you interact with your parents after you play, or how you interact with your coach after you play. So don't relax when the whistles stop. When you're trying to be recruited, I think that's something that we've talked about a lot on Running Point. We'll give it a message again because it's of the utmost importance if you're trying to get recruited in any sport, not just basketball.
Yeah, high character people are just as valuable as what you can do on the field.
Coaches recruit your character as much as they recruit your talent, and that's something that is going to be true for years and true for probably forever. Ty, let's dive deep into these Class B matchups tonight. And I think, as always, we'll start with 16U. It is the start of their championship series between Whiting and Creekside, both members of that Levy division. And, the odds were going into these semifinals that we were going to have a Levy matchup, unless the Astros won. They were the only team from that Hernandez division that was playing in the semifinals. So, not surprised that it's an interdivisional matchup between Whiting and Creekside Fitness.
This will be a good matchup too, as well. I mean, both these teams know how to hit. Both these teams have some arms that can definitely shut you down any given night as well. And for the fact that it's, like I said, a 5-game series, I mean, we talked about the 3 games they played in the season. There was lots of time in between those 3 games. Now you play them. Win or lose, you're playing them again tomorrow until one of you gets 3 wins on each other. So there's not a lot of places to hide, not only because you've played these teams, you played these guys 3 times prior in the season. There's nowhere to hide in this kind of in this series now. So game 1 always is the most important, vitally important to try to jump out to that 1-0 advantage. But it's definitely oh God. Mountain Dew poster above your door. What?
Yeah, you can see it. It's a little circular Mountain Dew right there.
Why do you have it, Hayden? Why do you have Mountain Big supporter. Oh, you don't have one?
Wait. I mean, hold on. Hold on. Oh. I mean,
do.
I mean, come on. I got everything.
Oh my God.
I got the big jug. I got the LED Mountain Dew light over there.
If there's ever a sponsor that we need for Running Point, it needs to be Mountain Dew. For how much Anthony supports.
I mean, there's another one over on this wall over here. So
not a sponsor, Mountain Dew, but you need.
We got it going on.
It was all preemptive. He knew you were going to hit your head on that desk.
I know. It was going to happen. I avoided the big clank.
The big one. But no, and we talk about it too. And dude challenges, you're going to need your own flavor. You're going to need your own flavor of Mountain Dew. Right?
My own flavor? Ooh.
We asked all those athletes, what's your flavor of Mountain Dew before we get into this.
Okay, so I'm thinking handicap blue, and we'll call it Dew on Wheels.
Yeah. What's the flavor?
And I'm thinking voltage is what do they call it? Blue raspberry?
Yeah. So
I'm thinking, I don't know. I guess blue raspberry is taken. What else is blue? What else is blue? I like pitch black. I'd bring back the sour grape.
I just heard that they filed a trademark for it, Ant, so you might be getting
Did they really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So you might be getting your wish. There it is.
Agree that the hot and spicy Mountain Dew is the worst thing they ever did.
They noticed you repping them above your door, Ant. They're gonna knock on your door and be like, Ant, we want to put you on the pitch black logo for this. We brought it back for you. We knew your love for it. Oh man. But
Anthony on pitch black. Yeah, that really that meshes together. Because my aura is always this pitch black.
Your black soul, Ant.
I got a black soul.
No, but in this 5-game series, when you talk about it, 1st to 3, we already know game one, vitally important. Whoever jumps ahead here. The question is going to be, what kind of game should we expect, though? Because pitching-wise, both of these teams we know have thrown some of their best arms the last few days in these last rounds. What do we expect? High-scoring game, kind of your ordinary, your casual baseball game, five runs, 4 runs for each team, or do we think it's going to be a low-scoring pitcher's duel? And
I gotta earn on the side of pitching, especially like the Whiting pitching that we've seen all season. I know that last night, it was 8-7, but more times than not, Whiting pitched really well this year, and they have a lot of good arms. So I think to win this, you're going to have to win some pitchers duels. There might be a game or two in that 5-game series that ends up being more high scoring, but I would wager that more games than not are going to be of the low scoring 3-2, 2-1, 4-3 kind of variety. I would say I would describe low scoring as anything under 4 runs. So 4 or under, I should say. So if it's 4-3, 4-2, 3-2, that's kind of what I would see as some of these games going. There might be one game that gets 10-8 in there, especially in a 5-game series if it goes 5. But I think the majority of these games are going to be of that really good pitching, quality pitching variety, especially on Whiting's side.
I'm really looking at the strikeout to walk ratio for both of these teams pitching wise. Whiting this season has had 66 walks allowed to 136 strikeouts. Creekside ups both of those categories, actually. 95 walks as a team, but 174 strikeouts, so almost 40 strikeouts more, 38 more than Whiting, and they clock in just under the 200 as well. This is interesting, though, because I feel like when you're going up against Whiting, and I've seen Whiting before, Whiting lives and thrives on being productive even without. So they're huge on putting the ball in play, getting runners over with sac flies, getting guys over with sac bunts, just guys putting the ball on the ground when guys are on third, hitting it out towards second, bringing that runner home, just being productive in that way. If you're striking them out, you take that production element away from Whiting. And with Creekside being a high strikeout volume pitching staff, that's going to be interesting going in this matchup. I know Creekside is 1-2 on this season, but that one win I know was back in day one. You take it for what it is, but it was a 3-1 victory against Whiting. So you got to still look at that score and say that Creekside has had the ability to shut down the Whiting bats before. I know it was first game, but still, and it can be the case as well. Creekside's pitching is finding a stroll right now, and they're striking out a high volume of bats in these playoffs.
Both these teams are coming off of nights where they had to throw more than they wanted to. Creekside had to play 2 games, and Whiting had to go into extra innings with a 10-inning game against Astros. So they're both coming off of a night that probably exhausted a little bit of their fumes. So we're gonna have to see. I think early in this game is going to be interesting. Who sets the tone on offense? Who scores first? And can someone get a first inning run? I think first inning run might be a deal breaker, because when you're trying to gas up energy and then the team scores, then you're sitting there like, oh, it's easy to lose control after that.
And like I said, for the pitching wise and how it's going to be helpful to Creekside, I feel like batting wise, though, it looks to be a detriment, because if you look at the batting numbers, batting wise, Creekside has walked 85 times, struck out 176 at the plate. Whiting, how about this? Walked 113 times, they struck out 88. They have more walks than strikeouts. So that's it's a high volume strikeout pitching staff going against a low volume strikeout batting lineup. And same thing, vice versa for the flip side. So looking at that, you see advantages for Whiting on that side, but you never know in this game. It only takes one guy getting hot on that mound.
And usually when strikeout pitchers go up against guys that don't strike out a lot, you have to see them adjust, because they're not going to get that strikeout. So they have to kind of try to attack the strike zone and make sure that when they do put it in play, it's weak contact. So Creekside pitchers might have to adjust their game plan a little bit and say, okay, we're not going to get the number of strikeouts we usually do. Let's attack the zone and try to get weak contact when they put the ball in play.
Whiting 2 batting 308 as a lineup, as a team, I should say. Creekside 299. Both teams sport over 400 on base percentages. So these are both good lineups through and through. RBI wise, 149 runs batted in for Whiting, 134 for Creekside. So the bats can get it done. It's going to come down, I feel like, to those arms on the mound. Who can get it done there?
Remember, even like 4 weeks into the season, that average for Whiting was like ungaudy.
They came back down to earth a little bit once they had to start facing the really tough pitchers and the tough nitty-gritty part of the season.
It's hard to sustain that amount of success for a long time. I mean,
when you have a team batting average of like 440,
it was up in the high 300s.
Yeah, they were like 390 or something at one point. Their on base was like 480 or something crazy.
And it wasn't like, oh, they've only played a week. It was like a month into the season they were still hitting like that. So it was one that we were like, oh man. But like you said, they did get knocked down to earth a little bit. But maybe those 2 wins against Astro will bring them back up to where they were. Who knows?
It propelled them to this point, certainly has. And I mean, 4-0 against Astro, that's going to give you some momentum, I figure, going into this series. You've beaten this team twice this season. Whiting is the favorite. You have to consider them the favorite, but no doubt Creekside, they're capable of winning this series. They're absolutely capable of winning it.
And they have been in the championship series plenty of times. So they have the experience in their program of being in this spot. I'm wondering how much that'll play a factor.
Whiting, I mean, knocking off Astro, it kind of feels like you have to purge yourself of all these old teams that have been there, done that. You have to go through them to be able to call yourself a champ. And Whiting has gone through the Astro Falcons, the big name in 16U. Here's another one in Creekside that's been there, done that.
Are you saying that Whiting is going to try to pull off the Scene Park purge? Should we set off the sirens?
Yeah, no. They're trying to.
Your first annual purge.
Whiting, by way of parody or by way of what all that hard work too that these batters, these pitchers have put in, and credit the coaching staff and credit the players for just doing a great job readjusting after going through that slump and getting themselves to this point. We got kind of two different or a new team kind of at this stage right now fighting for a championship. And a lot of times you would look at it and think that was going to be Astro Creekside coming out of it for 16U, but not the case. It's Whiting roll-offs against Creekside, and I think we got a really interesting 5-game series ahead of us here.
It's the best of 5. Ty, which way are you leaning?
In this one, I am going to say, do I want to pull the trigger on a 5-game series? I'm going to say Whiting roll-offs in 5. In 5. I think Creekside in a 5-game series is going to be able to put up some fight against them. And I think having at least one win against Whiting is going to help. I thought about saying Whiting in 4, but I'm going to give Creekside a little bit more respect. I think Creekside can take it to 5 for sure.
For argument's sake, I'll go the other side. And I'm going to say Creekside in 4.
In 4, you might be right too. That's.
And here's my reasoning behind this. Yes, Whiting got the 2 wins over Astro. They were really good, but overall, the last month or the last at least couple of weeks, they've been kind of inconsistent. They've had a couple of games, couple of weekends where they've looked really good, and then they don't look quite so good the next time out. So you got to be consistent to win a 5-game series, and I'm not sold on their consistency yet.
This Mike, man, that's absolutely fair. With way Creekside's played too, they're certainly a team in the last few games winning that 2 out of 3 game series against Avalanche, who was on a roll going into this one. It was the same Avalanche team that took over Whiting's spot in that Levy division, so they were riding in hot. Creekside cooled them off, and they're certainly capable of cooling off this Whiting team if they're not careful. We got an interesting series on our hands.
Hopefully for Creekside, they got that clunker out of their way. And I don't think they want to see another 18-0 game go that final in this championship series.
It's going to take you all the way to Saturday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday games for sure on the docket. And, of course, Sunday, Monday, if necessary, if we go 5 with this.
All right, so let's go to 18U now. As we have, I guess you would call them the first round or the actual. Do we still call them playing games? Really? I mean, you're not in the semifinals. I guess you can call them quarterfinals, but it's one game instead of a series.
Yeah.
It is going to be Athletics against Nightline. They just played last night, remember, and it's going to be Dura Edge against Avalanche. Can Athletics come back and fight against a Nightline team that just beat them by 9? Obviously, we've had proof that Class B teams have no problem bouncing back from getting beat up the night before. It's happened before in the season. It happened against Creekside Avalanche in 16U last night. So the question is, can the Athletics kind of get off that roller coaster and come in and get a win over Nightline? Or is Nightline just too hot right now?
This is the season series, too. Both of these teams, including last night, 2-2 against each other on the year. Athletics won the first 2 matchups, and Nightline has won the last 2. Who wins Game 5 of the season, and who comes out on top? And, I mean, you're 2-2 against each other. Going through their games that they played prior to real quick. The first game, it was a 4-3 win for Athletics on May 30th. Second game, June 12th. Athletics won that one 6-0. Then Nightline won June 25th, 13-3, and of course they won last night 12-3. So it's been a very big Nightline offensive train the last couple games. I don't know what to expect this one. I feel like though in this case, Nightline kind of went on their hot streak. They lost to a couple of teams. They were stubbing their toe a little bit towards the end of the season, but they figured it out again in the tournament. And if they're catching another one of those Nightline streaks that they were able to catch in the middle of the season, I can expect them to keep riding it too. I know they just won last night, and it's tough to beat a team twice in a row, but I feel like Nightline has just been so deadlocked on getting just to this tournament because they've beaten the teams ahead of them.
Interesting to see who Nightline decides to throw in this game.
Ronnie Harper's not going to be available, I don't think, for you tonight because he threw 74. You had Papagallo, who was another one of your major inning guys, go. Let me you double check because they had that third guy that has thrown and logged a decent amount of innings for them as well this year. So pitching wise, I would say your 3 big inning guys for this team. Jake Papagallo is probably out. I think it's Madden Bohm. It's Madden Bohm. Alec Grissom too's thrown 17 in third, but I think it's Madden Bohm that you're going to have to go with this one. Madden Bohm 2.37 ERA on the season. He's walked 11, struck out 31. I mean, he's got the 23 and a third innings too pitched. I would say that's probably going to be the guy that's going to need to eat most of your innings. I just don't know. I got to double check and see if he's even pitched the last few days too. I don't think they've pitched him though. I think they've kept him preserved for this though, specifically. Let me just double check. But I mean, your initial thoughts on this one, and I mean, you choose who you thinking going in this one after a 12-3 victory last night for Nightline.
I can't get off the last month for Nightline. The last month, the way it's gone, the way it's been. I know they had that bad last weekend where they could have been in 4th place, but they dropped to 6th. But without that, they had a really strong run in the last month and a half or so of the season. I can't look past that. I'm leaning towards Nightline and getting this win and going into the semifinals.
Should be very interesting. Madden Bohm has not pitched in the last 3 games for Nightline, so I got to figure that's the guy that's on the bump tonight for them, considering Papagallo threw 108 pitches a couple days ago, and you used Ronnie Harper for 74 last night.
That game will be on Scene 1 at 5:30 tonight. And the other game in 18U is going to be Dura Edge against Avalanche. And Avalanche had the bye. Dura Edge coming off the win last night against Ballistic to eliminate Ballistic and move on into the playoffs. So you have an Avalanche team. We've talked about it. They're rested. Dura Edge coming off momentum from wins. Now it's time to decide who really has the winning stuff and which advantage is going to be more at the top of the list tonight.
You also have Dura Edge that has the experience of playing in an elimination game just last night and having to calm your nerves and kind of be able to play in that kind of clutch. And now you're just throwing. Avalanche has to throw themselves into an elimination game now. Right. Where these teams got to have those play-in games, you kind of got to shake off all the kind of rust, all the nerves in those games before you get in these elimination games. I think there's going to be some sort of advantage that plays for Dura Edge. Like you said, you did predict an early lead for Dura Edge for this one. We'll see how it shakes up. But for my prediction in this one, I have to, for me, I feel like Avalanche have been so good this season too. They've been in that kind of 3 hole. They've kind of keyholed themselves right there and they haven't moved. a whole ton. And it's been a lot because Avalanche is just a really good batting team all the way around. 294 average. They bat in 115 runs. And also, you look at what they've done pitching wise, not a bad numbers there either. 368 ERA across the board as a staff too, holding teams to a 250 batting average, but striking out 190 to a high strikeout ratio for the Avalanche. This is tough. I think though, give me the shocker. Give me Dura Edge in this one. I'm going.
Really?
Yeah, give me the shocker. I don't know why I'm feeling Dura Edge right now, but I'm feeling Dura Edge. And I just wanted to look at their schedule too. And looking at it, Avalanche lost to Dura Edge 4-1 back on June 8th. The second time they played them, they beat them 5-4 on June 20th. And I believe, they beat them also 8-7 on Scene 1 July.
Oh, man, all competitive games.
So very close game. So it's not like Dura Edge is afraid of this team, and it's not like they're going to be a pushover to the Avalanche. They haven't been all year.
I'll take the freshness in this game, though.
Yeah,
I'll take the Avalanche.
That's a fair one too. We're both kind of sitting on opposite sides on this, but I
kind of already predicted it. I think Dura Edge will take an early lead, and then I think Avalanche would just.
I was gonna say you'd be kind of could be kind of weird if you're like Dura Edge wins it after you just did your whole Nostradamus thing and predicted an Avalanche victory.
No, I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna backtrack. I say Avalanche wins this game, comeback fashion. Maybe pulls away at the end.
Should be a good one though, as both teams fighting for a spot.
That game will be on Scene 1 at 8 o'clock following the game between the Athletics and Nightline. We'll go into the games at a glance schedule and see who's got the call for games tonight on a beautiful Thursday here in Youngstown. On Scene 1 for those 18U games, it's going to be Alec Caberna. And then in the championship game 1 for 16U, Ty, you're going to be there.
Yeah, I'll be there for game 1 between Creekside and Whiting tonight. So I'm excited to get a first look, and we'll see who takes a hold of that game 1-0 lead between these two.
So Alec is going to be calling the game between Athletics Nightline and also the game between Dura Edge and Avalanche. Ty, you will be calling game 1 of Creekside versus Whiting on scene 3 or scene 2? I forget.
Scene 3, I believe. Yep,
we have it at scene 3 on our games at a glance. So either way, it'll be on the network, and it all starts at 5:30. Ty, your game starts at 6:30, and then the nightcap of Dura Edge versus Avalanche will be at 8 o'clock.
We're excited for all of that too. Kicking off tonight, it's going to be a big run for both of these teams fighting for championships.
Richie Giuliano will be at McCoon Park, and he's actually there right now. That game started at 1 o'clock. Game 5, an elimination game at McCoon Park. He'll also be there for the second elimination game at 4 o'clock at McCoon Park as well. So make sure to check him out in the 50-70 tournament in McCoon. And then 4 games at the Field of Dreams. DJ Oakley will be doing the 12U games between on L1, and then it'll be Noah Doty on L2 for the 11U games. Both are going to be elimination games.
As like we said, it comes down to this point of the season, right? You got to have teams clutch up, and sometimes you get the most production from the most unlikely sources.
So once again, just a recap for 12U tonight, it will be Poland versus Austintown at 8 o'clock on field L1. And then also on L1, I'm sorry, Noah Doty's going to be doing those 10U games on L2. L1 is going to be the 2 elimination games. So DJ will have 11U and 12U elimination games, because the 6 o'clock game will be Canfield versus Poland in that 11U elimination game. So DJ will have both of those, and then Noah Doty will have the 10U games that are kicking off their bracket play on L2. Once again, he'll have a doubleheader with Canfield versus Boardman and Poland versus Austintown at 6 and 8 respectively.
We're excited for it. Make sure you check out the calls over there for Little League too, as action in full swing. A multitude of baseball going on from all sorts of leagues tonight.
There will be a lot on the line. Like we said before, we said at the top of the show, we have playoffs in Class B, and we have elimination games in Little League Baseball at not Bob Scene Park, at Field of Dreams. And then we'll also have elimination games at McCoon Park going on right now.
Yeah, literally right now. So make sure you guys tune into absolutely free ysnlive.com/live to get that main hub of all the games that are going to be on the network tonight for us too.
We're going to take one more break. When we come back, we'll have more Running Point, wrap up this episode, and get you ready for Friday on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin.
It's a new year at Acura of Boardman and Boardman Mitsubishi with huge savings on over 350 fully inspected vehicles. We have cars, trucks, SUVs, minivans, and work vehicles. If we don't have it, our team will find it. We aim for 100% credit approval with payments as low as $99 per month. And as always, we'll pay top dollar for your trade. For a great vehicle and a great experience, come see why everyone is stopping by at Acura Boardman and Boardman Mitsubishi.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting, where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education, and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
You know, being able to have success on the football field and the basketball court and just every aspect of, my sports career is now documented. One of the greatest things about high school sports is to be able to talk about it for the rest of your life and to look back on the days with my buddies whenever we had some battles, whether it was with our rival or just another game. And I could go back and look at it and not only myself but my family members, my teammates, and it's something that will last a lifetime. My name is Parker Sherry, and my sports network is your sports network.
Storm season.
I think we're under the gun for some heavy storms over the next couple of hours.
And Storm Tracker 21 is ready.
This is probably the one we're keeping a closer eye on.
On air.
And locally, we're going to have a lot of eyes on our area.
Online.
All right, let's talk high-risk futurecast and the timing of this weather.
On social media and on our app.
Notice we'll have scattered showers on Thursday.
Stay ready with Storm Tracker 21.
The severe weather threat now through around sunset this evening.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online.
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
And on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local, independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsurancesolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
For a great vehicle and a great experience, come to Boardman Mitsubishi today. As always, our full lineup of Mitsubishi models comes with a standard 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Boardman Mitsubishi, your hometown Mitsubishi dealer since 1999.
But now you can see every school, to the smallest school, to the intermediate schools, to the schools in the outlying areas. It gives you coverage that you could just never get to before. It's something that's great to experience, and it's opened up a whole new wave of sports viewership. The possibilities are endless here at YSN. push the envelope every day, try something new. If it works, great. If it doesn't, well, let's try another angle, and we just keep moving forward. My name is Mike Ackelson, and my sports network is your sports network.
Welcome back to Running Point on YSNLive.com, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig alongside Ty Bartell. We are so excited to see Mike Ackelson soon.
Yeah, we're gonna be
glad that commercial break ended with him.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna be just a few short weeks away from seeing Mike again, full flesh in the studio for Audible Call.
6 more Fridays, but Friday's tomorrow, so we're close to 5 more Fridays left.
Sounds like you're getting a little bit excited, Ant.
I'm getting a little bit stir crazy. I want to see my high schools again. I want to talk about these fall sport athletes. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's been a long wait too. We always talk about it, but there's a lot of these athletes that are specialized too in fall sports as well that only kind of play in the fall too. So there's a lot of athletes we're kind of saying hello again to for the first time.
I know, and that's why I'm excited that we're adding another All-Star game for volleyball, because like I said when we announced it, there are a lot of players I can name a lot that just play volleyball or don't either play the other sports and don't excel at them. They're just role players or whatever. They're not all-stars, but they are in volleyball. Yeah, and they shine the brightest in volleyball, and it's going to be exciting to give them a platform.
Yeah, I mean, so many great names too that are going to be highlighted in one night.
It's going to be fun. We still have a couple of weeks left before that, but the exciting thing is before all that happens, we're going to be starting to get football, volleyball, golf, soccer previews coming at you really quick. I mean, we're going to probably start reaching out to people next week and probably start the preview process in 2 weeks.
We already have a great golf mind in Brian Tolnar, so maybe a way we can incorporate Brian Tolnar into maybe some of these golf interviews too. It would be a great mashup too, and a great crossover considering how great of a mind Brian Tolnar is too.
And we've talked about games. I want to get more games than last year, but from a running point standpoint, we want to do more soccer than we did last year. We opened the door to soccer. We got a lot of soccer coaches, but now we want to open the envelope more. We want to dive into soccer more and get soccer more coverage on Running Point. We want to get golf more coverage. We want to get cross country more coverage. So we are not going to stop opening that envelope and making sure that we're bettering ourselves at YSN and here on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. We always want to make sure we're pushing that envelope, kind of like our friend envelope.
Our buddy Mike Bailey is in not new colors, but a new mascot, because he moved from Salem to Canfield. He's going to be coaching Canfield boys soccer this year.
Yeah, and I mean, we're excited to be able to talk with him and continue our coverage of him. A lot of coaches too that kind of have switched colors, switched teams. There's been a little bit of movement around, a little bit of shuffling, but we're seeing a lot of names that we saw last year, just kind of coaching it up in different areas.
He was our first coach back into the studio after COVID. So he's going to always be one of the first coaches we call out to and say, hey, want to come give a preview? Stay even a little bit. He give us stay even that we
Ant loves it.
It's our anthem on Running Point.
For sure. But make sure you guys tune in to tonight. We have a full slate of games. I mean, starting right now, there's games going on right now all through the night.
Yeah, right. The game started at 1, and it goes on until the nightcap at Scene Park and Field of Dreams, both starting at 8 o'clock. So should have you covered through probably 10 o'clock. From 1 o'clock to 10 o'clock, that's a 9-hour day of content on Running Point. A total of 9 games on the network tonight and today.
Got you taken care of. So make sure you tune in to the ysnlive.com/live. You can get all those games too, absolutely free, full list of them too, and their start times conveniently placed there for you. But yeah, I'll find them right there on ysnlive.com/live as your main hub for all that.
And then we haven't said it yet, Ty, but post-game interviews on YouTube. And if you go watch them on YouTube or you're watching the show on YouTube, Ty, what do you think the people should do out there?
Yeah, you got to make sure you subscribe and hit your notification bell to make sure you keep updated on those videos.
We looked at the analytics and we know that a high percentage of people that are watching this show are not yet subscribed. And I'm looking at you, Matt. Matt, you better subscribe. Subscribe for Anthony. Subscribe for Ty.
Yeah, Matt.
I just picked a random name. That was a bit. There's no one named Matt. Well, there might be someone named Matt watching the show. If there is, I'm calling you out. But if there isn't, it's just a random guy named Matt. So I hope there's someone named Matt that's watching.
We get you covered with all that, as well as always on our stories as well. There's always post-game interviews that you can find too, on a multitude of stories on the site as well. So make sure you stay tuned to that. Stay tuned to our socials as well, as you can get any news coverage as far as game changes, any kind of development like that, as well as any kind of development inside YSN as a whole as well. You can find that on our social media pages.
That's why we say that you got to stay updated on our socials, because we are constantly putting stuff up. Their YouTube content goes up every day. So if you don't hit that notifications bell, you're going to miss something. Don't want to miss anything. You don't want to miss it in post-game interviews. You don't want to miss our shows. You don't want to miss games. You don't want to miss the interviews that we do on a long form basis. You don't want to miss anything. So hit that notification bell and take YouTube's algorithm out of the equation.
Yeah, take it out of the equation, like Anthony said.
We should have more subscribers than views on YouTube. That's our goal.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We're not there yet. So let's get there. Everyone subscribe, or I'm taking a silence protest.
Yeah.
I'll talk until you subscribe, Matt.
Matt. Oh man. But no, we should have a great night on the network too. 16U, 18U in action. Little League is in action as well, and you can find all those games too, with all kinds of championships, as well as moving on to championships, and all kinds of just big games with all kinds of title implications riding on them on the line tonight too. So make sure you tune into them.
All right, since we have just a little bit of time, I gotta go over to social media real quick and share this with you, because I saw it on the Twitter news feed. And I'm going to share a picture with you guys. I'm going to put it up to the camera. This is a 14-year-old football player, 14 years old, in California. Can you imagine going up against that in your 14?
Athletes are getting bigger, better, and stronger, and we see it day by day.
I'm pulling an Olay. Sorry, my QB.
Yeah, yeah. You just let him get trucked.
Yeah. You get trucked instead of me. Better you than me.
Would be starting many games on the offensive line then.
Yeah, and I'm not afraid to say that. I would not start too many games on offensive line.
You just sidestep it.
Oops. Olay.
Oh man.
Maybe I'll make it look like I try to block him by like putting my hands up and then.
You kids getting bigger, better.
That's a monster. That's not a 14-year-old. You can't convince me otherwise. I want to see a birth certificate. I think he's trying to pull who's that Little League player? Remember that? Like back in 2000 or whatever, where he was supposed to be 13, but it turned out he was actually like 16.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
He was throwing gas.
Just like throw it absolute heat. They're like, why is this guy throwing? It's like, well, he's 4 years older than everybody else.
He did the old bench warmers thing. I am 12.
Yeah,
it was a 20.
That's the idea.
Sounds good to me.
That works.
I can't even, like, it's like when basketball, when you see a 14-year-old that's like already 6'2", and they're going up against a bunch of kids that haven't hit their growth spurt yet. They're 5'3". It's like, that's just I wouldn't even try to go up against.
Kids are trees. Kids are trees, man.
There's a video out there somewhere of like a 6'8", fifth grader going up against a bunch of fifth graders that are like not even 5 foot yet. And it's like all he has to do is, because they're playing on an 8-foot hoop for everybody else, so he can dunk without jumping.
Just slams it home. Oh man, we can look forward to a lot of that.
It's like the character you make in NBA 2K without, like, at 2 a.m. when you're like on a Mountain Dew Sugar Rush, and this guy's 7'8". That was him.
He's just playing bully ball, straight bully ball.
Bully. We have plenty of games on the network tonight. We're going to sign off. And like we said, we went through all the matchups. There's 16U championship series starts. Playoffs continue in 18U. We have elimination games in the 50-70 tournament at McCoon. And we have elimination games going on Field of Dreams for 12U and 11U. And the start of the 10U tournament as well. So all that going on the network tonight, starting at 5:30, going on until 8. But we have games going on right now at McCoon Park too. So we have 9 hours at least of content from now until the nightcap at Field of Dreams and Bobseen Park. All of that on ysnlive.com/live. That's where you can find it. We're taking a 22-hour break. We'll be back tomorrow from 12 to 2. This was Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet.